Right, so in order to improve what we've got, we can make sure that the user understands exactly where the point will be, and right now the 2D circled dot that we have in the middle of our screen always stays there and it's always the same size, so we don't really have a good estimation of depth or how far this is going to be. And this could cause a problem. This could we can improve the user experience by adding a 3D object that is going to be always in the center and that is going to move as we move the camera. So let's try and do this. So here, if I go in my ship, I'm going to rename this with arrow, like that. And in here, so what I want to have is, so I've got nothing in my scene graph right now. I'm going to add a node. That's going to be my arrow. And obviously that's going to be exactly in the center. So select arrow, arrow, and that needs to be at the origin. Okay. So now that we've got this, we can look for a pyramid. Like that, and then I'm going to make this same 0, 0, 0, and I'm going to reverse it. So that's going to be 180 degrees in the X Euler. Right, and this pyramid is going to be inside of the arrow. And we're going to change the size. So this is going to be 0.1, 0.2, and 0.1. Okay, and then we also need to make sure that here we're going, so this is 20 centimeter high, so I'm going to move this by 20 centimeter as well. Okay, so let's add some color to this, and I'm going to add some red, and also I'm going to add some directional light as usual. So directional light, and I'm going to angle this, not too much this time. And okay, so this is also going to be rotated slightly, like so. So it, yeah, that's what I want to see when I. So I understand that this is a pyramid because we have a darker side here. I think it looks quite good. So obviously now what we want is to add a point here. Okay, so in order to move this around as we move the camera, we will have to add something else, another function here, which is going to be called by this delegate once again. So this is a new ARKit function that we haven't seen before, and it's going to be so renderer, and in here you can see update at time. So we've played with did add, did update. Now we want update at time. And so this is going to be performed many times per second. I think it's 30 times per second. I could be wrong on that one. But anyway, well, all you need to know is that this function is called pretty much all the time, and it keeps being repeated over and over again. So what we want to do is to make sure that our arrow is going to be centered and updated every time we move the camera. So when the camera moves, obviously this is updating with time and not with movement, but obviously this is going to work. So in here, let me just do put a bit more space. Let's here create our arrow. So let arrow equals, so scn scene named art.scn assets slash arrow.scn, and that's going to be the root node of it. Good. Okay, so now that we have access to our arrow, we need to make sure that the arrow is going to be in the center. So here we need to do another heat test, really. So everything we've done here, well, we're going to move this to this function, and when we tap, what we are going to do is that we are going to get the position of our arrow, and we are going to add our sphere there. So all we've done here, we can cut and paste. So now we will have a problem because this, we can't call this too many times. We need to make this a main thread thing. So what we can do is to just create our center, because this center doesn't change much really. So I'm going to call var. So let's create this center, which is a CG point. Capital G, CG point, and that's going to be like that, just CG point. Now, when the view did load, we can say that our center equals view.center. But we would also have a problem if the user rotates, because then the center will move, right? So if you put will rotate, then we can say that center equals view.center. Okay, so our center is now always going to be where it needs to be, and in here I can just remove view dot, and that center is always going to be fine. Great. Okay, so what we need to do now is to add this arrow. So in my view did load here, I call the scene view, and the scene and the root node, and I can add a child node, which is my arrow. Okay, then let's go back here, and my arrow, so arrow dot position equals position, and that's all we need really, I think. So let's just run this and see if I made any error, but I think we should be okay. We are not okay. Oh, right. So yes, this position does not exist here, obviously. So well, for now, actually, I'm not going to do anything in my touches began. So let's just run this. Is this another? Oh my god. Okay, so yes, I am absolutely sure that this arrow does exist, and actually what I could do is to unwrap here directly, and that should be enough. Okay, so this is running, and as you can see, we have, so this is actually slightly big, and can you see how this is kind of flickering all the time, and I'm not really happy with this effect. However, so if I tap right now, obviously nothing happens, but we can fix this really quickly. But I think this is quite cool. So if I go down, I can understand now straight away that this is much further because that pyramid looks much further. And here, this is a lot closer. So yes, I'm very happy with these results. I think that we can just remove our circle dots now and make sure that we add our points back. So how could we do this? Well, very simply, I'm just going to back to the main storyboard. I'm just going to delete this label. And in the view controller, in here, so we had an error before. So the error was obviously that this position doesn't exist anymore. So what we can do is to say that this is actually going to be our arrow.position. As simple as that. So let's just run this again. Okay, so this is now working, and if I tap, you can see how this is now adding exactly where this is pointing. We can add, so now I can understand a little bit better exactly where this is going to happen. Almost. Yeah, this one is on top, this one is working. I'm happy with that. Okay, so yeah, maybe we can make this pyramid a little bit transparent so we can see through what's going on. I'm going to change the lighting as well, and you see how this is flickering all the time. I'm not happy with that, and we need to make sure that this is going to be a bit smoother when we move the camera. So I'm almost out of battery here, so let's close this video, and in the next lecture I'm going to show you how to make this a bit smoother.